receptive today.
Today I'm just here to give a little quick update, COGA news update, which is just basically the events, upcoming events for the church, the different things that we're going to encounter throughout the year, and then a short overview of basically the tools for team leaders to drive growth in COGA Cathedral with their team. So I'm really speaking mainly with the team leaders and what you can do, and as well as the workers as well, because we're all leaders, what you can do to help drive growth in the church. Let's go to the next one. We're going to go to effective team administration to drive growth. So, first of all, we learned that adaptation and changing what we do based on the times that we're in is what really creates effectiveness and a relevant church. We saw it in the video earlier. Some of us came late. There was a video that we watched earlier. I believe Pastor Rick Warren gave that presentation, and he said that what makes you irrelevant is if the progress going on around you is faster than the progress going on within your organization. So if you're not keeping up with your surroundings, if things are moving faster than you are moving in your organization, you will quickly become irrelevant. So of course we're not here to become irrelevant. We're going to stay very, very relevant, and we want to move forward. So we must make sure that we adapt. We adapt to stay connected to what is going on around us in our community. So before we know what we can do as team leaders or what we can do as team members to drive growth in the church, we want to first of all know what even makes churches grow. So there are three just basic general things that we want to know about churches that makes them grow. Number one is community, and that is bold because it is what the teams are created for. So that's really what we're addressing in this topic. And then of course music is there, and the message is very important as well. But the purposes of this presentation, we're focusing mainly on community. Like I said, we want to stay relevant, and in that video he also mentioned Ecclesiastes 10:10, which I'm happy he mentioned that if one does not sharpen the edge, if the axe is dull and one does not sharpen the edge, he must use more strength, but wisdom brings success. So we want to make sure that we continue to adapt. Also, I have another passage here that I believe is very important. 1 Corinthians 1:10. It says, "Now I plead with you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that you all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you." Of course, pertaining back to community. "But that you be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment." So, our pastor and also Evangelist Pablo mentioned a lot of the things that I'm even going to be pointing out. They already mentioned it's very important that we come together as a community, that we're united in everything that we do, because there's no way we can have growth without unity. Nobody wants to join a place where they see that people are divided, where there's no organization. So we want to make sure that in everything that we do, we're together. Now, of course, I'm speaking mainly to our teams. So all of the teams here, everybody here in this room is in a team. Okay? Whether you call it COGA Voices, it's still COGA Voices team. If you call it the Greeters, you're the Greeters team. If you are Faith team, you're Faith team. Love team is Love team. So we're all in different teams, and we want to make sure that we all work together. Not only within your team, but with other teams as well. Like, for instance, we have the instrumentalists who, of course, have no choice but to work together with COGA Voices, right? So we want to make sure that even while we're working together inside our specific team with our own leaders, that we're also working together with other teams. Yes, we can go to that slide. It says the purpose of our church teams. So why do we even have church teams? Why do we create the teams? Why can't it just be, okay, COGA Cathedral, everybody's a member, do your own thing? Reason being, number one, it fulfills the need for inclusion. And I highlighted that part, need for inclusion, because it's very important. I wrote under that as well, members want to feel a part of the fabric of the church, no matter how big the church is. So, like our pastor mentioned, the church that we went to in Maryland in January, they mentioned that they kept calling and praying on the phone, because even though we said we were visitors, even though it seemed like we're never going to come back because we're from New York, they still took it upon themselves to still continue to call us. Now, a lot of these things that I'm going to mention, we are actually doing it because we've done previous trainings and we're doing a great job, and we see that the church is growing. But of course, like I said before, we want to continue to adapt, we want to continue to get better. So that's why we have to keep coming back and teaching ourselves and reminding ourselves what we need to do to get better. Also, this is an overview, so it's general. I can't speak directly to the choir, I can speak directly to the Sunday school teachers. But of course, it's an overview for you to now take these little pointers and use them in your specific teams. So let's just keep that in mind as we go on. So, like I said, members want to feel a part of the fabric, and nobody wants to be lost in the crowd. They want to feel like they're doing something, that they're adding something to the group. So that is the need for inclusion. It fulfills the need for affection. Evangelist Babalola spoke about love, that people want to feel loved, we want to develop relationships. So I said that people need to develop relationships with others in any type of gathering, especially in the church. I wrote an example here about students. Students that go to school and participate in clubs and organizations with other students. So the students that join different organizations in their school, whether it be elementary, whether it be high school, whether it be on the college level, they generally, most of the time, almost always, do better academically than the students that just go to class and go home. So one of the reasons that is true is because, first of all, they're excited to go. Right? Because they know, okay, I have a friend there, we're going to do this after class, or we got to get this done, we got to work on this. And they're also leaders in their own clubs. They feel a part of something. When you're just going to class, you're just a flock. If you go to a private school of 50,000 students, you're just a social security number, right? But if you're active in one of the clubs there, then, oh, I'm the vice president of so club, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I gotta make this work. So they're working hard with that. They're also more excited to go to school, more excited to do things that pertain to school, so they do better academically. So we need to use our teams in the church. Use your team in the church to give people a reason, number one, to feel love, and number two, to feel more excited to come to church. Right? So if you're I keep talking about choir because that's what I'm in, or media department, I'm going to speak about the stuff that I really know mainly. But let's say you're in the choir, you want to give people a reason for them to feel more excited to come to choir practice, for them to feel more excited to sing the choir. Now, all of us will, of course, we'll take these things and we'll apply it to our own team, see how they work in our own team. Of course, like the video said as well, experiment with different things so we know what works. But just generally know that what I want to do is give people a reason to be more excited to come and to be active. So that's number one, part of the ways we can create growth. How do you create growth? People will invite their friends, right? It's going to happen. But retention, like Pastor said, is what's very important. Because there are some churches that people invite, maybe 100 people are invited that year, and 2 stay. So from this year's annual report to next year's annual report, you have, 100 visitors came that year. Okay, what did the church membership grow from 2014 to 2015? 2 people. When 100 were invited, how? They didn't retain them, right? So it's the church teams, those little sub-communities, those little sub-organizations that really keep people in the church. So we gotta make sure that we give people a reason to stay in church, to feel love among one another. I have also under that organizational efficiency. The teams give a structure, this also under the purpose of church teams. They give a structure to the church and make it easier to run, right? Like I said, why didn't we just say everybody should come and it's all COGA? Okay, so we don't know on which Sunday who's going to sing, we don't know who's going to preach, we don't know who's going to do this and that. So it's very important that we know we have an organizational structure. Also, people know and people can tell very easily when you're disorganized. It discourages them from joining a church. Now, an example from 2 weeks ago, a young man that came up to me, and he also said that he's gonna come back. He used to go to a church somewhere in the Bronx. I forgot where he mentioned it. He said they were very disorganized. And when he came, he was walking by here, and he saw the lights. So that attracted him in. And then he heard the accent. He heard the pastor's accent. So from that, he's Nigerian. So it clicked him, okay, the leader of the church is an African. So then he told me, okay, I did not expect the organization that I saw from a church that is led by an African. Wow. That's what he said. Directly to me. So this is to say that people already have presupposed really watching us and seeing it, especially new visitors. The next purpose of church teams is, of course, to assist the pastor. As a team leader, you're an assistant to the pastor. So whatever the pastor's vision is for the church for that year, or for that day, or for that week, is your vision as well. You gotta take it, and you gotta run with it. So, in your little, like I keep saying, in your little group, so for instance, the president of this country has a way that he wants to drive the country. Then the governors of each state, they have no choice but to follow. Because whatever laws that's being made from national, the states have to follow. Correct? Yeah. So as a leader of your little sub-community, that's your own little church. I was reading an article online when I was trying to prepare this, and it said that we all talk about the shepherd of the church, or the shepherd as the leader. That little article said that, okay, if the pastor is the shepherd, if the leaders of the groups are shepherds, then pastor is, they call it a rancher. So he is in charge of many different shepherds under him, right? So many different shepherds that are leading their own little group. So we all gotta see it as if we have our own little church. Speaking to the team leaders now, you gotta see it as you have your own little church that you're running. And also for the people that are individuals like myself, like I'm my own group as a secretary. I gotta see it as I'm running my own little church, that all the organizational things I gotta run it. The treasurer, same thing. And then for the people that do have other people under them in their own groups, you gotta see it as if you're running your own little church. You're the pastor of that team, right? So just make sure you know that you're assisting the pastor and you're doing what you gotta do to keep that vision moving. The last thing I have here, the purpose of church teams is to fulfill personal ministry. Some people know, okay, my calling is to sing. My calling is to usher. Your job as a team leader of the ushers is you gotta make sure that they get that done. Because they can't do it, they can't usher if they're not in the ushering team. If the ushering team is not doing everything together the right way, and they're going to be doing a shabby job. They're going to be doing a disservice to their position into the ministry. So that is also part of what gives people that more incentive, like I said before, more incentive to come to church. They feel more excited because they're fulfilling the ministry, the personal ministry that God has given them. So that's just some of the purposes of church teams. You can go to the next slide. And the next one is how can you contribute to church growth? I just have, of course, these are overviews, group communication, hospitality, special events, and big projects. These are suggestions for how you can, in your personal team, add to church growth, and of course, growth inside of the group that you lead as well, and in your members as well. Starting with hospitality, you want to make new members feel welcome to the group. This is what we stated that, and give opportunities for both new and old members to participate. There are different ways for people to be hospitable. We actually have hospitality as a topic today, so we're going to even learn different specific ways of how you do this. But just keep in mind, you want to make sure that you keep people feeling welcome, because that's how we retain members. Pastor said as well, you want to create a welcoming environment for people to come. Group communication, I have next. Constant and effective communication within church teams causes new and old members to feel welcome. So you can see the underlying thing that retention is what's most important for growth, right? It's obvious we're going to say invite your friends, invite your family. Everybody knows that. But keeping them is the main way to grow the church. So constant and effective communication really, really helps. There's something that the choir has done. They created a WhatsApp group, and it has really shown. It has really shown in the church. You see that the special numbers happen more often. They happen more in sync because people know about the song beforehand. People know about practices beforehand. People inform when they're not coming to practice, or when they're coming to practice. Everybody knows the time. And there's very good communication amongst everybody. There are different ways you can communicate. You can use calls, you can use emails, group text messages. There's new technology out there all the time, so we got to stay with the times. But just make sure you're communicating with your team often. Events run smoothly and big projects are accomplished when you communicate. A big project, for example, would be the Against All Odds movie that the drama team released, or the album that the choir released. Without effective communication, there's no way that those are tools of evangelism, right? So those are the things that bring people into the church. But those would not have come to pass if there was no effective communication. If we didn't know where to meet, if we didn't know when to schedule the times to write the script, when we're going to practice the script, when we're going to film this shot, when we're going to film that shot, there's no way you can do it without effective communication. And big projects, I have it later on, is a very, very, very important aspect of going to church. So just make sure we stay in communication with our team members often. Special events for your group ensure that members don't fall into a regular routine. When you fall into a regular routine, you get bored. You're less inclined to invite people, and there's no progress, nothing moving, no experiments going on like the pastor said in that video. So special items for your group. I know, I believe it's Faith Team. Faith Team, they like to go on like a buffet outing, and they go out, they eat. I actually got to go to one, which is really good. I got to take pictures for them. Very exciting. They were all happy. They were all talking amongst each other, learning more about each other, creating community, and the food was good as well. You like to know. So things like that that's a little special outing. There are different types of things you can do to bring people together. And you know, special events, like the last bullet point there, special events bring members to church and bring new visitors to church as well. For example, the church attendance after the Railroad Convention. On the day of Railroad Convention, every year the attendance is a number that's like double or triple the regular attendance. Of course, because people invite. When you see that after the Railroad Convention, some of those new visitors stay, right? A good number. So it grows every time. The number of members grow every time you do something special like that. Even things like baby dedications, those things they add to the church. So for smaller teams, you can replicate bigger events like that by doing your own little special events, keeping things fresh, keeping things new. Choir, you can take us out to the buffet too. I'm not against it. So different special events like that, it keeps community among, that community feeling among people, and it helps to retain members as well. I'm gonna, this will be the last one, because I believe my time is up. Big evangelism projects. I mentioned that before, like the COGA Drama Team's movies, COGA Voices album. So this is another method of experimenting, new things, trying new things, just to bring people into the church. So a couple of examples up there. You can use food drives, you can do clothing drives, movie nights, even social media evangelism, or groups going out to maybe give out tracts or to talk to people. Those things bring people to the church because you're doing evangelism, you're evangelizing, telling them to come to the church. So that's also a very effective way of creating growth in the church. So that just wraps up a couple of general tips, we can call it, a couple of general tips for how you can, in your own special small teams, as the pastor of your group, you're the leader of your group, to just create growth in the church as a whole, create growth in your group as well, and continue to advance God's work in His kingdom. Thank you, and God bless.